Welcome to the Burrow.
A podcast where we discuss our favorite books and have a bit of a laugh. Hi, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Meg. I use any pronouns and I'm from Canada.
I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the UK. So, how have we been recently?
Uh,
A lot
so
has
much is
happened.
happening. When we're recording this, my birthday is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm turning 20. We're both turning 20. Which is a big thing. I feel like, yeah, turning 20 is like one of the big milestones because you're officially not a teenager anymore.
Yeah, I've been milking out that word for ages. I've been like, yeah, I'm still a teenager, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
have like less than 2 weeks left. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be a
I
teenager
have
anymore.
I don't even have that. I have what? How many hours are until? Let
I
me
don't know.
check. How many hours?
Do the exact maths of how long left you have of being a teenager.
So I have about 16 hours or 16 and a half.
Why does this feel like a death cost book? 16 hours left until you're gonna die.
Until
No, I'm joking, I'm sorry.
what are you gonna do these next 16 hours?
But yeah, by the time this gets released, you'll be 20.
God, I will be,
How do you,
oh,
so will I probably, maybe. No, I
no,
don't
no. I'm gonna
know.
release it
Actually.
before. Uh,
So, Heartstopper Season 2 is now out.
yeah, that's what our episode's about today.
Yeah, we're gonna be, yeah, we, yeah, we have a lot to say. We
We
have
have
a
so
lot,
much to
lot, lot,
say.
lot, lot to say.
So
Um,
basically, both of us watched it right when it came out. It was 2 a.m. for my time,
and it
8 a.m.
was
for your
8 a.m.
time.
for me. I felt bad for you. I
You
really
know
did.
what? It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so worth it.
Okay. So before we get into it, I would like to do a quote of the week, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Um, so my quote is from the show, of course.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one that's in the comic as well. And I chose it because I've been seeing a lot of Heartstopper TikTok is a wild place. You know this. And I've seen a lot of people being like, oh my God, that's cringe. That's like so stupid. So the quote is from Nick, and he
Mhm.
says it actually quite a lot in the season.
Mhm.
Not as much as people are making out. I think it's about 4 or 5 times he says it. He says, I'm bi actually. He says it like on the Instagram post.
Mhm.
I think he says it to date, like he says it to a few people. And I've been seeing this a lot on TikTok. People are like, oh my God, like I had to take a break because he's so cringe. Like, why did he say that so many times? And I'm like, you're missing the point because the point is that when bisexual people come out, they
Mhm.
actually have to say that because people are like, oh my God, I knew you were gay. Like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like stuff like
Yeah,
that. And the point of that is they have to say it that many times in reality to like validate their sexuality and to be
yeah.
like, no, I am actually bisexual. I may be in a like gay presenting relationship
Mhm.
or in a heterosexual presenting relationship, but
Yeah,
I am bisexual. But yeah, that's why I chose that one because I've been seeing it a lot and it's so annoying.
it is.
It's just like, yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just funny to me how in season one it happened and in season two people are just missing the point of the show
Oh
and
my
they
God, I could
get
go on and on about
it.
this, but so many
Yeah.
people miss the point of the show, and I don't want to like single out people, but like a lot of people who only watched the the TV show, they don't get the message of the comics or anything at all,
Mm,
which kind of leads into my quote, kind of, sort of. Part of it is like I think who was it from? In the comics, it was Aled who said this. Alan, yeah,
yes, yes, I know
yeah.
what you're talking about.
It's basically not a word for word, but like it's kind of known in society that if you're not straight, you have to come out and tell everyone, but you don't. You don't owe it to anyone.
Hmm.
It's your business. You don't owe your friends or family them knowing your sexuality or gender.
Yeah.
Just take your
Yes.
time. Or just never, you don't need to tell them.
Hmm.
Just live your life how you want to.
Exactly. It's so true.
Mhm.
And
Which,
that's one of
yeah.
my favorite parts
Mhm.
from the comics ever.
Yeah.
And I
Which
love
I
it.
feel like, yeah, so many people just miss the whole point of that. Because for one thing, with the Kit situation and him being forced to come out, it's like you miss the whole reason. He shouldn't
Yeah,
have had to come out.
I've said this already to you, but
Hmm.
what is completely wild to me is since that article came out, the Kit and Joe article, I was like, holy shit, that was happening whilst they were filming season two.
Yeah,
And that whole storyline, like, it's just insane how it was Kit's life, like what was happening with that was actually kind of mirroring what he was filming.
yeah,
And that's like that's blowing my mind and that's
yeah,
absolutely crazy. Um, because I think I read him say something like whilst he was filming, he was like, "This is how I wish like it could have happened."
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that he was surrounded by all the cast and crew whilst that was happening
yeah.
because being by yourself and having to have done that and just like all that happened surrounding that whole Twitter coming
Mhm.
out sort of thing, like that just makes me really happy that he was surrounded by like so many like loving people and
Mhm.
yeah, but it's just it's crazy to me.
Yeah. And to Kit or Joe or anyone who, if or any of the cast, if you ever watch this, we love you so much in like not we don't know you, but like
And
just,
a you seem cool way.
you seem cool and we want you to have like be happy and we're I don't know, we respect you. Yeah, we just respect what they do and like
Yeah.
feel like they're normal people. They shouldn't be treated like they're how celebrities are treated. We've talked about this in our
We have this conversation so many
mhm.
times, literally, and we're just like when we're it's funny because I'm like, oh my God, I love this person. I'm like I don't mean it
Yeah,
like I
no.
love them, but like I mean it like they just seem really cool and I
Yeah.
appreciate them as a human, but also
Mhm.
like as an actor or a musician or like whatever they do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah. I appreciate all the Heartstopper cast. They're
Yeah.
like gonna do wonders for young and older queer people.
Oh
Like,
yeah. So true.
yeah, it's amazing. Especially Alice. Alice is like the mother. Like the, do you know what I mean?
I love Alice so much. Their
Mm-hmm.
books just I don't know. They're so good. They show like tell so many different messages and stories that aren't talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Exactly.
it's so good.
What
Like
I also now love about the show is that watching season two, whilst you're watching anyone, like any queer person who's watching,
mhm,
can at least feel represented by at least one character, if
mhm,
not more than one character on that screen.
yeah.
I think that's really special. That's something really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, should we get into it?
We should. So starting with
Cool.
episode 1. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Kit and
So
Joe
it
talked about
literally,
this in an interview. It starts off right away with so much kissing.
do you know what as well?
Mhm.
It actually, what I realized is that season two is literally the day after season one ends. And it's kind of funny to me because Kit actually he doesn't look drastically different, but you can tell that time has passed.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, especially him in season one, I don't know why he had such like a baby face,
Well, he's
which I know he's
worked out
talked
a
about.
lot since.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, you can tell there's a difference. But like realistically in the show, it's only been like one day because it was literally the day
Yeah.
after he came with his mom. Because then he's
Mhm.
like to Charlie, "Oh, I came out to her yesterday." But yeah, the like how long was that kissing montage? Like
I think it was like about 4 minutes or something.
also I found out all those moments in the montage are
Mhm.
improvised.
Oh, really?
Maybe not the kissing because you have to have like
Yeah.
intimacy coordinator, but like like all the moments in
Mhm.
those like little yeah, it was
Well,
improvised.
I know the thing where they're playing Mario Kart and like the ruffling the hair thing was
Yeah,
slightly improvised. Like one of the people in the crew suggested that
I think
to
yeah, so
Joe.
the director whispered it into Joe's ear.
Hmm.
No one told Kit, so Joe literally did it, and that was Kit's reaction.
Yeah.
Which actually, I feel like I could tell that whilst watching it.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know why, but I feel like he slightly changes his voice for Nick, so I could kind of tell that it was literally just him, like
Yeah.
unfiltered. I don't know how, but yeah, that was I really like how season two, I think it's more playful because I've heard
Hmm.
there's a lot of different improv scenes, like the stuff after prom at Nick's house, all of that kind of stuff was pretty much improv on the day.
Hmm.
So like they because they know the characters more and they're comfortable with each other, they're
Hmm.
just able to just like kind of play with it and do a bit of improv and see what happens.
Yeah. Man, I loved the last episode so much. I loved also like when they're all together at Nick's house. It was such like and like when Tara came to the door, that was such like a found family moment.
Yes, yeah. I think that's one of the best things about the
Mhm.
show. It's just like that found family and that like friendship group and that just
Yeah.
like unconditional support.
Mhm.
It's oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, continue with episode one.
Oh yeah, episode
Yeah.
one.
Um, yeah, what happened? I remember the kissing part and then oh yeah, the GC well GC sees the exams just
They
kind of
hadn't yeah, they hadn't started yet. It was basically a study hall.
yeah.
Um, which is I mean, I didn't have that instead of form,
We
but
don't
I
have
guess
that here.
oh yeah, no, I know. I know. But yeah, it's just like a study hall where it's like supervised revision
Mhm.
and we see Mr. Farouk.
Yeah, I wasn't I mean we saw him in like the photos and stuff, but also I'm like I wasn't expecting him to look like that.
I also
Maybe
wasn't expecting him to be such a road man because like he
he
actually
is.
was and I loved it.
Mhm.
It was great.
It was great.
He's yeah, I love him. He's one of the highlight. I mean, the teacher arc is actually one of my favorite parts of the
Oh,
comic anyway.
so true.
So like it was one of my favorite parts of the season as well. But yeah, in is it in episode one that Ben and Nick sit next to each other?
I
Or no?
don't remember, but it's either one or two. But that was uh,
In my
that was a
head,
moment.
I'm thinking of my own experience in like when they put you next to each other in GCSEs and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't understand how they were sat together though, because it's usually done by your surnames. And Nelson and Hope, like they're not together in the
Yeah,
outfit at all. So I'm just
they just placed. Well, it was just kind of like a thing where
like random. I don't know.
well, they did it purposely for the show,
No,
obviously.
I know. Yeah, I
But
know
yeah,
that.
random.
Yeah, I was just like I was
Mhm.
ready for Nick to actually just start a
Oh
fight.
yeah.
I was actually ready for it, but I
Oh,
guess.
we forgot to mention. So I'm not sure if it was in Family in the second episode or the first episode. But yeah, Charlie comes out to his parents. Not comes out, well, not comes out, but tells them about
Mm.
um Nick, and then they're like, "Oh, that's why."
That was yeah, that was episode two.
Okay, yeah,
Um, because it was all about yeah, episode two was all about family with like the parents' evenings and
yeah.
kind of like forbidding Charlie from seeing Nick until he gets his work done.
I mean, I'm not siding with Jane, but
She was kind of right.
she was
Okay.
like strict. I think banning like fully wasn't, but like also like he did need to get his coursework done,
hmm
so it's good for him to have time to focus on his coursework.
I saw actually online someone points out they did a comparison between like Charlie telling them about Nick in the comics compared to
Mhm.
the TV show. And actually, the TV show was them reactions was actually mainly negative,
Yeah.
whereas in the comics it was mainly positive. So that's like a really big change, which I think is actually really
Mhm.
interesting
Yeah.
to show like his family. Like his family isn't they aren't bad people,
No.
but it's just the way they react to certain situations and that they're not I would say from what we know about the comics, I'd say they're not a really like emotional kind of opening up sort
Mhm.
of especially his mum, I'd say.
Yeah.
His dad maybe like a tiny bit better than his mum. But yeah, we're definitely gonna see so much of that in season three, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well, like, as we see in the comics, like closer to like the end where we are now,
Hmm.
it's kind like we understand where like Jane is coming from. Jane being Charlie's mom.
Hmm.
Um, where she just it's kind of how she grew up. Like she doesn't want to be that way. It's just
Yeah,
she's been influenced by her own mom.
that's always the case, like
Yeah.
with parenting, because you only do what you learn.
Hmm.
Can't do like that. That's kind of the thing. So then it kind of becomes a cycle, unless someone breaks it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of his mum. Sometimes she's okay,
Hmm.
but we all know whose mum we like, don't we?
Oh yeah. Sarah, love her so much.
Like,
Even
I
she.
honestly, Olivia Colman was just born to play her. Like,
Yeah.
no one else can play her.
No.
Like, I just literally when I saw Olivia Colman the first time on screen in season two, I actually screamed. Like, I was like, oh, Olivia, I missed her. Yeah, I just next mom is just like the best. Oh, and Tao's mom. I love Tao's mom this
Oh,
season.
mom. She's so
She was like
sweet.
she's the cutest, and I love her. But yeah,
What else happens that
I don't
episode?
know
Why
what
am
we're
I
talking.
blanking? My brain's like not working.
How many times have you rewatched it?
A few. But I've watched mostly like the Paris episodes and the last
Mhm.
episode.
I mean, we don't have to go into detail about each episode.
Yeah, we don't. Um, episode two, we can talk about that one. Episode two, the whole family thing, where like Charlie, like they have their obviously the parent teacher. We call it here parent teacher interviews. I don't know what you call it.
Parents' evening. Oh, my voice. We call it parents' evening
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that thing where like Charlie hasn't really been getting his work done.
because he's been distracted by a certain someone,
Hmm.
which
I
I
think
don't
good
blame
teachers know that.
him. Uh, Probably not all of them, but definitely his history one, because his history one is also the form tutor.
Yeah, and he sees them.
Because I'm telling you, I've been thinking about this a lot.
Mhm.
If I was in their tutor,
Mhm.
I would know. Everyone in that tutor knows.
Yeah,
Like those
it's
interactions.
so clear.
Like if you were in that tutor, you'd be like, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
there's something going on here.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I think about that. I'm like, what are those kids thinking who are like literally in their form with Nick and Charlie? I'm just like,
Yeah, you can't be that oblivious to it.
no.
Like they aren't being that sneaky about it.
No, they're really not.
They're
And I
really
actually just
not.
love that.
Like
Um,
how in the first episode, Nick literally leads Charlie and the class into a different room alone.
Also when he covers his eyes, like that,
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
respectfully,
Because
your friends don't do that normally.
no, not in my
No, not my
experience.
experience.
Yeah, it's just really funny to me. But I think it's because more from Nick's end than Charlie's end, because Charlie's more cautious.
Mhm,
But from Nick's end, he doesn't really care. He just wants to like. He's a very touchy. I
mhm.
feel like his love language, his main one for sure, is physical touch.
I think
Like
so. Yeah.
he shows it through touch, and I just feel like yeah, as soon as he sees Charlie, he's just like oh, like I can't resist, or like whatever.
Yeah.
Which is really cute. But yeah, what else are we talking about? I don't
Oh, I
know.
want to mention how we see Ben's parents for the first time in
Do we?
the parents' evening.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, like there's not really much
Oh
about it, but it's like we do see them,
yeah. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
and they're like these look not a stereotype. They look like very well off.
Yeah. Yeah. You get that vibe from Ben as well as a person as well. Like
Yeah,
very snobby, very like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Oh yeah, Charlie being a rebellious teen and sneaking out of his house to go and see his boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't condone like sneaking out of your house.
I would never like I can't sneak out of this house.
No.
I mean, I don't have a window in my room, so that option, no. And I
Mhm.
have to literally walk past my mom's room to leave the
Yeah.
house. I mean, I could leave through the garden
Mhm.
because we have a like side gate, but
Yeah,
like
true.
that's just never, I mean, I've never had a reason to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, go Charlie. He misses Nick. I get it.
Mhm.
But like your schoolwork,
Yeah,
like
your schoolwork is so important.
it was stressing me out a little bit, and I wasn't the one who had to do it. And I was
So
just like,
true.
Charlie, please, please.
But he got it done last minute.
Did 5 minutes before the deadline.
It's still something. He got it done.
Exactly. I've done that before. I have done that before.
And he
Um,
becomes like prefect, right? In the next
yeah.
he becomes prefect in Nick and Charlie.
When he's in year 12, I think.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
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 So Nick and Charlie. I know Nick Charlie he is
In year
prefect.
12.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. He becomes, yeah,
So
prefect.
it's
I
kind of
think
like his
head boy as
grades
well.
would be good.
Yeah, he becomes head boy as well.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause the teachers love him. Like, in their eyes, like, Charlie can do no wrong. Like,
No.
really, come on. Like,
And
he's
he's
Charlie Spray.
yeah, and he's a good influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from that one time he made a year 7 cry, was it?
Think so?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
in
like
song
one
chat, I think it
time.
was mentioned. That's so funny. That's actually
Anyway,
really funny.
um episode 3. We haven't actually talked about like Tara and Darcy and Ellen Tao. I love in this season how they go more in depth on them and also more in
Me
depth
too.
on Isaac and his journey of like being asexual, like arrow ace.
Hmm. And also more specifically, Darcy's home life,
Yeah.
which is we don't see in the comics. It's
Hmm.
like talked about, but like this much. You know there's an
Yeah.
issue, but you don't know what's going on there. So it's really nice that we got to see more of that. Um,
Mhm.
and also is a really good comparison to compare Ben with because
True.
which we've spoken about this, about how a lot of people are like defending Ben and being like, oh, he comes from like a really abusive household and they're homophobic and they won't accept him. And I'm like, but Darcy basically comes from that exactly same environment and look at her.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's, I think it's a really good comparison
Mhm.
because obviously it depends on your home situation, but it also depends on the type of person you are as well.
Yeah.
And it's evident throughout this whole season that Ben is generally just like a horrible person.
For
Like even
real.
like like even if he was straight and there
Mhm.
was no internalized homophobia, like none of that, he would still be a horrible person.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with that. It may
Yeah.
be a part of it, but like we saw even when he was with Imogen this season, he was really controlling and he was
Yeah.
just like not a nice person.
Talking about
So
Imogen, I love
Imogen slayed this season, okay?
okay. In season 1 in the beginning, I wasn't a big fan. I thought she would be a problem, but in season 2, I love Imogen so much.
Also her outfits, like her
I
Paris
know she was
outfits, all
slaying.
her
She was
outfits.
like
She's
serving. Oh my God.
literally, I just loved her. I
Also,
also loved when Nick tried to like come out to her, she was like, "Oh my God, is this about Charlie?"
yeah, she knew.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, she's like, "It was kind of obvious, sorry." And I was like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
I loved that scene between them.
I love their friendship. I love their friendship, like Nick and Imogen and Charlie. It's just, I don't know. It's so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just really cute and
Hmm.
because it's as well, they've been friends since year 7.
Hmm.
Like they've been friends for a long time. And that's just I don't know, it's just really sweet like friendship and
Hmm.
how Nick and Charlie like supported her when she stood up to Ben.
Exactly.
And yeah, I'm so proud of her for speaking up against Ben.
Hmm.
I
That
won't
was such
lie,
a slay as well.
I know, but like when she started bringing Charlie into it, I was like, oh, okay. Are we gonna air that in front of everyone at the
Mhm.
table? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, what was also funny to me during that interaction is that we know that Harry has said the F slur, not on the show, but in the comics. But like as soon as Ben like insults another woman, he's like, no, 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 no. I drew the line at this.
Yeah.
Homophobia, carry on. But if you're being rude to like a girl, no, I don't
Yeah.
tolerate it. And that really made me laugh. I was just like, okay, Slay, I guess, but you've said the F slur before,
Yeah.
but okay. But no, we're finally seeing a bit of a redemption arc for Harry, like
Yeah.
the beginning of one per
Mhm.
se. Probably fully in season three, we might see a bit of a change.
Yeah.
I mean, we even saw him like defending Nick and Charlie from like some of his friends were saying like snarky
Mhm.
things, and we saw that. So there's hope.
Yeah. He's trying to
But
be better.
yeah, I'd say the difference between Harry and Ben is that Harry is literally your standard knobhead at school. Like, do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like your roadman, like kind of your kind of silly boy at school who's like a bit of a
Mhm.
troublemaker. He isn't like he's not like a bully, but
Mhm.
he's like he causes trouble and like he
Mhm.
likes to um have a go at people and stuff. Whereas Ben, he's he's like much more than that. Like he has issues that he himself needs to resolve because he's just such a horrible person. Whereas Harry has like the potential to be a better person and to learn from like the ignorant stuff that he's said.
Yeah.
So I think they're two very different people. They are both in the series and in the comics. They're both like not very kind of nice people when we first meet them, but Harry kind of changes, whereas
Mhm.
Ben, as we know from Solitaire, he stays the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't learn from anything.
Exactly.
Um, which is why I'm happy he's not going to be in season three of Heartstopper.
Oh my God. All the people that are like defending Ben are like, oh, it's not gonna be in season three.
I'm like,
That's
I
sad.
don't
And I'm
want
like,
Charlie having to see him again. Like, what
yeah.
do you mean?
And like, honestly, in the comics, he's not there anymore.
He's not even, he wasn't even on the Paris trip.
No. But they changed the story a little bit since
I
like
know
there's
why
the
they did
Imogen
that
thing.
because also as well, the stuff that Charlie said at Ben in season two, I
Mhm.
think was what he said at Harry in the
It
comics
was, it
for a bit
basically.
anyway. Obviously not the assault part, but like the
Hmm.
basis of what he was saying was directed at Harry when he tried to come into the party. But you know what? I actually loved how Charlie just slammed the door in his face and was just like, nah, like
Hmm.
not coming in. That was great. But I think one of my favorite scenes from the season is when Ben tries to apologize to Charlie,
Hmm.
um, and Charlie like basically confronts him with all of that.
Hmm.
And I was just really proud of him in that moment because
Yeah.
finally kind of stood up to him and like put him in his place. And it was funny because when Charlie was like, "Oh, do you remember the first time we kissed?" You could see Ben was getting smug. He was smiling. He was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I remember." And then Charlie was like, "Yeah, I didn't say you could kiss me. Like, I didn't give you consent for that."
Hmm.
And it's you just really see how annoying of a person Ben is in
Yeah.
that scene because he's getting really full of himself. He's like, "Yeah, like we kissed. Like you had a crush on me,
Hmm.
whatever." And then Charlie's like, "Yeah, but it wasn't consensual. You assaulted me," sort of thing. And it was just like, I don't know, it was really empowering to see. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nick looked like he wanted to kill him.
But yeah, the Paris trip. Oh my God. They did it so good. And also one thing about the TV show, especially this season, I love how close to the comics they were.
It was like insane.
Yeah.
I was noticing all of these things and I was like, wow. Like I knew because Alice was writing the script, I was like, of course I know they're gonna like try and make it
Hmm.
as close to the comics as it can be done, but I think even more than season one,
Hmm.
like potentially it was crazy. A lot of the
Hmm.
like a lot of the shots, a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the action that was happening, it was really cool.
I think also main things that were like different were like the things with like Imogen, obviously. The things with Elle going to the School of Art.
Mm.
Those like the main two things that were like different.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Isaac's
Isaac,
story with
Isaac,
James.
yeah, that was a big different thing, but it also kind of does fall along the lines of Aled. But I also was noticing that it was a lot of like kind of Georgia's storyline, Georgia from
Yeah,
Loveless.
see, yeah, I was gonna say because I think Alad is actually Demi, isn't
Yeah,
he? And
he's Demi, yeah.
he's not Abro. So I feel like Isaac has elements of Alad and elements of Georgia,
Hmm.
and then elements of himself as well, because he's an original character.
Yeah,
But like a little bit of Alad, a little bit of Georgia. Yeah. What was it? I was gonna say something. Oh,
yeah.
also the
Mhm.
fact that um Nick, I forgot his name, that Nick saw his dad in Paris as well was a change.
Yeah, that was a like it wasn't like too much, but it was a change. Also,
Yeah.
the dinner they had after, like near the end in episode 7, I believe it was. I
Yes.
was looking through the comics, I was rereading a little bit. Um, that actually happened, like, yeah, it did happen after Charlie went to the psychiatric ward for his eating
Oh, is
disorder.
that? Oh my God. I knew it was
Because,
in volume
yeah,
4, but I didn't know it was then. Okay, wow.
yeah,
But I think it did make sense seeing as we met his dad already.
yeah.
And like the way they put it in actually really made sense. And I think it was good.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, David, trigger warning. Um, the actor did a really good job of making everyone hate him.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's what they brought in episode 2. Episode 2 is also David came in that day.
David, yes.
And that's why Charlie snuck out because Charlie, like, and they went to the park instead of going to Nick's
Yes.
house.
Yeah, because his brother was home.
Hmm.
And we don't like Nick's brother
Oh,
because
absolutely
he's getting
not.
sick. Um, though, like, he looks really, like, they casted him really well.
Hmm.
Like, he looks like he could be related to Kit. They
No,
look very
yeah.
similar.
Also, one of
Um,
those photos, I know one of them I'm pretty sure is his. I don't know because he has like the Trum
do
uniform
you
on.
know what, though? I swear to you, that picture is Kit. I feel
Yeah,
like they just photoshopped his face onto like like younger Nick that they had in
yeah.
season 1 and then just like put the blazer on it, but it looks so real.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And
all of
then
the photos of Kit were like actually of Nick were like actually Kit in
yeah,
their house.
and then
Yeah.
there's the one of David and Nick, but I'm like, who are these? Just like, who are they?
Maybe that's because I know that was Kit in the picture, wasn't it? So maybe
Was that
that's
kid in
just
the
him.
picture? Getting
Yeah.
like a
So
friend or
maybe it was
something?
him and his brother. He has a
Oh,
brother.
oh yeah, that could have been it.
I don't know how old his brother is, like the age
No,
difference, but it could have been his brother.
it could have. I don't
Yeah.
know because the kid hasn't really talked about it.
No, all I know about his brother is that his brother has a cardboard cutout of Kit. Or did he
I
send it
forgot
to
about
Kit?
that.
Or does he have it? No, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I know, which is really funny.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah. Yeah, the dinner happened, which doesn't happen till a bit later. But
Yeah.
I think that was really good placement to have it in there
Hmm.
like that, I think. And of course, we had the iconic Tori kicking David's phone down the
Oh my God,
stairs.
that was
It was
incredible.
so good. That was like one of the moments since because I think we heard already in advance that the dinner scene was going to be in it. I was like, I cannot wait to see that scene with Tori and David. And it was great. It
Mhm.
was everything I thought it was going to be, and I loved it.
Some of the scenes that like from like the comics that were in the show, I don't know, they did it so well. I'm not gonna bring up the last scene until later because that's just we
Me
need to break that
too.
down.
Same.
So Paris trip very much like to the comics. Aside from yes, the Imogen thing. and maybe some other stuff. Oh, and then like the thing with like Ben and Harry.
Yeah,
But most of the stuff from the Paris trip were like pretty spot on.
yeah.
Also, hotel was like pretty accurate as well.
Do you know what I found out is that the hotel room
Mhm.
that was actually filmed, I think, in the UK. That wasn't filmed in Paris.
That would
Like the
make a
actual
lot of
in
sense.
yeah, the actual inside, because it doesn't, you don't need to be, because they were only in Paris for a week.
Yeah,
Like the only like things that they filmed in Paris was like the outsidey sort of things.
yeah.
Obviously, the interior of like the hotel room, they could just like build that and yeah, do that outside of
Mhm.
Paris.
And then
But
there's
yeah,
the balcony.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, you know who we haven't talked about is Sahar.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna mention Sahar. Oh my God, because when you're talking about the I'm bi actually, Sahar also said that.
Hmm.
Because in episode
It was in the art
seven,
gallery. Yeah, 7, I think.
7 when Elle had her thing about like her art piece,
Mm.
all of them went, and then Imogen's like, I'm not the token ally anymore. Which I don't think she's just an ally.
I don't think so either.
She's not just an
I
ally.
I said this from season 1. I don't think she is.
I think maybe like she can be either bi or maybe pansexual.
Some people are saying pan.
I'm
Some
thinking
people are
pan.
saying some people are saying lesbian. I'm like, maybe, but
I don't know about that. I'm thinking just like pansexual probably. I don't know
yeah.
why,
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe too.
but we'll see.
We'll
Maybe
see.
we'll have a thing about that in season 3. We don't know.
Maybe we'll get another pansexual character in season 3 if you know who I'm talking about. You
Maybe.
know who I'm talking about?
Think so. Oh yeah, okay. I don't know.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay. I was waiting for the realization to
yeah.
set in.
I don't know if we're get. I'm just gonna say who it is. I don't need to. I'm gonna say him. Yeah, I'm just gonna say him. I don't know if we're gonna get him because he's not like a massive character in Heartstopper
I know, but we see him.
for like a brief
I
moment, but like
I
he's
literally, this is a character from Solitaire. So if you've read Solitaire, it's the, yeah, you know who it is.
you know who we're
When I
talking
say
about.
when I say pansexual character, you're gonna know who that is.
Mhm.
Um, and if not, then read Solitaire. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
It's about Tori. Why don't you want to read about Tori?
yeah. I'm
Um,
rereading it right now, and I
are
told you
you?
I had to take a break because it was
I
just like
remember when I
yeah,
reread that book for the first time, I forgot how emotional it just
it
makes you.
is
Like after you finish it, it's like you just stare at your ceiling and you're just like, I don't know what to do with my life now.
Mhm.
Like it's a lot of emotions that book, but I love it.
So true.
But even if we get him for like 5 seconds, I don't care. I just need to see that curly hair. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I just need to see him.
Museum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even like, in season 1, they basically had James in season 1, but he was like an extra.
Yeah. And
You know what I mean?
also, yeah.
Something like
Well,
that.
James actually, there is a character for James in the comics.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but I mean in the TV show, like
Yeah.
he was there in season 1. Like he had that line, at the rugby match in
Yeah.
sports. But the actor didn't know he was gonna be James. He
Mhm.
was just like student number 2 or like whatever.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we love James.
Anyway, where were we? We were talking about
Sahar?
Sahara, yes. Oh my God. I love how they brought in like her musician part.
Me
How she
too.
plays guitar and I'm like, yes, incredible.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see more of her next season.
Hmm.
Because we only got a little bit, but I enjoyed all of the Sahar
Yeah.
we had on our screen. It was just so cool to see. And like I was saying earlier, like there's so much diversity in terms of like
There so
the
is.
sexuality, but also in terms of like the ethnicities and the backgrounds and just
Yeah.
everything. So like imagine being someone watching someone who looks like them on screen
Mhm.
and it's just really cool. But yeah.
I love it so much. I want more of Sahar in season 3. But honestly, Sahar is like not a big character.
Mm, yeah.
But also like no, well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I was gonna say Aled wasn't a big character, but Aled was. Aled is like one of Charlie's best friends,
Yeah, but then
but also still wasn't. And then Tori wasn't really a big character in Heartstopper either.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's hard because technically Heartstopper is a Nick and Charlie story
Hmm.
because it is about them. It's all about them. Um, so like the other characters are secondary,
Yeah.
as important, you could argue,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I feel like it still feels pretty equal.
Mhm.
I mean, like Sahar, yeah, she doesn't have like that much time in the comics. I don't think like we don't know like too much about her, but that might change in the show format
Yeah.
because as well in this season, what we got information about is that Sahar and Imogen used to be friends.
Yeah, I want to see more of those two because there's so much like stuff behind them that just isn't brought up, hasn't been brought up yet, and I'm like, we need to go
I
into that.
I'm feeling a bit of tension, is
Hmm.
what I'm feeling between them. But yeah, that's something which is really interesting, which for sure I think is going to be explored the next season.
I think so.
But yeah, I was so excited to finally see Sahar. I love her. I think she's a very underrated character.
She is.
She is, isn't she?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, what else should we talk about?
Hmm. What happens? Oh, we can go into this. Episode 5. Do you know what episode 5 is about?
Is that the Truth or Dare one?
Mm-mm. The Heat, that's what it's called.
No.
And okay, so basically, as if you read the comics, obviously, um, Nick ends up giving Charlie a hickey by accident. Which in the comics they called it a love bite, and like that's kind of a lot cuter than a
Yeah.
hickey.
Which, by the way, that is such a Nick Nelson thing to
It
be
is.
like, how did I even do that? I don't know how I even did
That's
that.
so funny. And then when oh my god, when Tao like opened the door and was like, "I'm gonna be having words with you."
He has such mum vibes.
He does. It's so funny.
But like, I actually liked how they changed it because in the
Mhm.
comics, it was a totally different scenario because Tao didn't even know about Nick and Charlie.
Yeah.
Um, but here, obviously, he does.
Mhm.
And they didn't even try and come up with an excuse. They were just looking at each other like, wow, I
Well,
don't know
we all
what
kind
to
of
say. And then Tao was like, Nick. Yeah, it was really funny.
yeah. And then oh, and then like the whole thing with like Tao being shirtless and Elle opening, you know, the door thing. That was funny because the four of
Yes.
them standing behind were like,
Do you know what I wish we did have in the show, which I think we had in the comics,
"Mhm."
was I think it was either Elle, Darcy, or Tara, one of them or all of them, after the whole Hickey situation, were like, why didn't you just use makeup? Like
Yeah.
I wish we had that little thing. That's kind of just the one thing.
Mhm.
Because it just makes you realize how stupid they were and they didn't think it
Mhm.
through. Um but yeah, that whole the whole Hickey situation and
Yeah.
then everyone kind of assumes it's James because I
Yeah.
think he's openly gay, is he?
I think
Like
so.
everyone's
Yeah.
gay? Yeah. So they were like, oh, because he's the only openly gay
Gay
guy,
guy.
Jesus, on this trip, then it must
Mhm.
be James.
Yeah.
And then James is like, no, it's not me. Does Isaac think it's me? I don't want Isaac to think I gave you the
Mhm.
hickey. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's a whole
I
thing.
actually really like James. James is really
I love
sweet.
James. He's so cute. I just want to like
Yeah.
hug him. Like, I love him.
He seems so
I
nice
like
and lovely.
I like how they expanded the character because James in the
Yeah.
comic is just the guy that Charlie was dead to kiss in Truth and Dare.
Yeah.
Like James in the TV show, like he has a bit more like depth to him.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I actually just love James so much. As soon as he came on screen, I was like, oh, he's just so
Ah,
cute.
he
Like
is.
I just need him to find a boyfriend and be happy. That's
Oh,
what I want.
so true. Yeah.
That's what I want for him.
But yeah,
Um,
Heat. Charlie, this is where we like really see the eating disorder coming in
yeah.
because he's getting very like anxious and stuff about the hickey and everyone talking about him because he doesn't like attention. We
Hmm.
learned that he
Yeah.
really doesn't like people, talking about him and stuff like that. So he doesn't really eat much, and I love Nick for this. Happens in the comics as well. How he wraps up a little croissant for him just in case.
Just in case he gets hungry. Yeah,
Mm,
because even at this point, Nick is a bit sus. He's like, I've noticed that you're not eating regularly or as much as you probably should be. So he's just like kind of trying to keep an eye on that.
mm,
But yeah, you can see him kind of notice that there's something potentially off with
mm,
Charlie and like his eating habits. And if you actually did know the comics like we did before the show even started, you'll even notice if you go back to season one,
mm,
you can actually see some of Charlie's like bad
mm,
eating habits and his like bits of his eating disorder actually in the first season as
mm.
well. Um,
Well, some of them for sure was episode one where he's like stirring his cereal and not eating it.
yeah,
Another
and
one was in the art room.
yeah,
Yeah,
also in the cinema with the popcorn
yes.
as well. So if you want to like go back to season one, you can literally see the early
Hmm.
like talk kind of scenes of that in season one as well.
Hmm.
Which I really loved that they've thought about this. So you see like tiny bit in season one, season two you see a lot more of it, and then season three it's gonna be really like the main
Oh
focus of
yeah.
the so I like how they're kind of gradually going up into it, but this season like particularly there's some like hard conversations around it. And I've spoken to a few people who have suffered from eating disorders before, and they said that they really loved how the show did it
Hmm.
because it wasn't triggering for them. Like it was a nice balance of it being an eating disorder and being a realistic representation of what that
Hmm.
looks like. Obviously, it's a different experience for everyone, of course, but also whilst not being too intense that it's really triggering for a person with like history with an eating disorder, which I think is great because a lot of shows kind of over dramatize it or like romanticize it, which I don't think the show's doing at all. So I
No.
think that's really great. But yeah,
Yeah. That.
is this the episode where he faints?
That's what heat is about. Because he also, yeah, doesn't eat and then it gets really overheated. And while they're in was it in the Louvre?
The
Where?
Louvre,
The
yeah,
Louvre.
yeah,
Um, Charlie faints while they're walking and falls onto Nick.
yeah,
And then right after that, because they get Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajay and they come and then they bring the two of them to like I think a little cafe or something.
yeah. I think it's a cafe in the
Hmm.
Louvre.
Yeah. I guess Charlie has the croissant and then for Mr. Farouk gets him some other food. And that's where they have the first talk about the eating disorder. And
Yeah.
love I just I love Nick so much. I love Nick and Charlie. And as Tori said once, or maybe a couple of times, Nick is so Charlie obsessed. He cares about him so much. And it makes me feel so lonely.
No, I won't lie to you. After watching that show, I was like, I feel single. Like, where do I find this? Ugh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I keep rejecting people. My expectations are too high.
Oh my God, please. I would love to have that issue. I would actually love to have that issue.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. Um, yeah, that conversation is like the first time they actually speak about it.
Hmm.
Um, and Charlie doesn't fully open up, but he talks a bit about how his eating habits probably aren't like normal,
Mhm.
and how sometimes he just like doesn't eat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Nick, which happens a lot when they have these conversations, and it really tugs at my heartstrings because he literally looks so upset.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's because the person he cares about is going through this, and
Mhm.
he just cares so much that he's just so upset and sad about the
Mhm.
whole thing. Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, I think if Kit and Joe don't get any nominations for this
Oh my
season,
God, they have to.
like, what are you doing?
They did so good this season.
I know. I think as well, what I've noticed and what I've seen online is people talking about Joe's performance and how most of his most of the really good parts about his performance in the season isn't to do with his dialogue, but to do with his like nonverbal acting with
Mhm.
the whole eating storyline and how without words he just does it all throughout like the face and his body language
Yeah.
and his eyes and stuff like that. And like he conveys so much where he doesn't like have any words to actually say it, but you can see it and
Mhm.
it's like insane. I'm just like, please just give them all the awards for this season
Yeah.
because it's crazy.
And then the animations, like adding on to it, it
The an-
really helps it.
it really
Hmm.
does. Animations are really cool.
Yeah. This,
Um, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I'm just so glad they have the conversations like that. And they talked about this twice actually, but um when they when they go on their own into where is it in the Louvre or is it in somewhere else?
when is this?
They go off on their own
Is
in the
this the French?
area. The French the French
That's the
thing.
Louvre.
The
That's still
Louvre.
the Louvre. Yeah.
Yeah. They have their little like Mon Amour thing. That
I
was adorable.
I was giggling. I was actually giggling.
It was
Like
so cute.
it was perfect. It was
Hmm.
actually perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so good.
And I
And the way
was
Charlie was like, "What? Like, no, like it's cool. Like you're French,
fine.
whatever." Yeah.
They did that so
Oh,
well.
it's honestly so cute, and it's just like so Nick and Charlie.
Yeah. And I wanted I was moving on into the like after that when they're above and they're like, why don't we like Charlie says, what about we promise to tell each other things when stuff is going on? And I'm like, I don't know, I love that.
We love communication
We
kings. That's what
do.
we love. We love communication.
Yeah.
Because without it, relationships are just not good. Yeah. You know what we should also talk about in the
Mhm.
Louvre? Whilst Charlie's collapsing, what's happening with Tao
Tao and
and
Elle.
Elle?
Oh my god, they
It's
kiss.
it was so funny to me because it was like you had the scene where Charlie collapsed, and then you go to Tao and Elle, and they're just like in love, you know, like doing their thing, whatever. I'm like, babe, your best friend literally just collapsed, and
Mhm.
you don't know what's going on. But like, slay, like enjoy your
So
time together.
yeah,
Yeah, they have their first kiss.
it's
Is it their first?
incredible. And
Yes,
then
it is.
you this song for that? I am obsessed.
The
I have
Heartstopper
been
soundtrack is unmatched, I'm
it
telling
is
you.
so good. I'm still listening to it right now.
Oh, like actually right this second. You're
Yeah, it's
listening to
playing
it.
on my phone.
Oh my gosh.
Currently, it's playing "Kiss Your Face
Aw.
Forever" by
Yes.
Orla.
But yeah, like that scene was so specific to the comics as well. And
Yeah, it was.
oh, it was so good. Actually so good. It was
Also,
so
I want to talk
cute.
about the soundtrack for a second.
Yes.
The animations,
On Spotify, yeah,
the
you see like the
leaves.
leaves falling.
It's so cool.
I love it. It's like the cutest thing ever. I love it. It's great. Um,
But yeah,
yeah,
the Tao
so
and
Elle
Elle
and
scene.
Al are like now, you know,
Yeah,
slowly becoming a thing. And
play.
they're just so cute. Like, ugh, I
Uh,
can't explain it. You know what I mean. You
I
get
know what
it.
you mean. I get it. Yeah, it's so. And then they, I don't know. It's just it's so adorable. And then they
I
get
know.
back to the hotel, and both of them tell like their
Their
groups.
respective like groups, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Yes. Oh, it's actually the
Mhm.
best. Something which I realized we haven't talked about, which happened early on in the season, is when Tara said to
Yeah, I was
Darcy
just thinking about that.
that she loves her, but she said it in a way, I think Darcy was being, chaotic Darcy self,
Hmm.
and Tara's like, "Oh yeah, that's one of the things I love about you," or like,
Hmm.
it was something casual like that. She
Yeah.
didn't realize it came out. Um, and this is Darcy hasn't said anything about it. She's like been joking around, like avoiding talking about it. And
Yeah.
Tara keeps trying to kind of bring it up and talk about it because Darcy didn't say it back. And it's this whole kind of that's their kind of conflicting kind of storyline that they have for the
Hmm.
season. And it all kind of comes down to essentially Darcy's home life and that
Yeah.
situation kind of prevents her from being able to say it back to her.
Hmm.
So yeah, whilst they're in Paris, Darcy and Tara are still kind of in that
Yeah.
situation, and Tara just she doesn't feel great
Mhm.
um about it. But yeah, I just thought we should talk a little bit about that because I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
That was like a lot. That was a whole. I feel bad for Tara, but then also Darcy was going through a whole thing where
Yeah,
she didn't feel like Tara could like fully love her because Tara hasn't seen the other half of her life.
yeah,
But then she does later.
yes,
And
yeah,
Darcy's like, I don't understand how you could. I'm not even out to my parents or my family.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently as well, I know I keep talking about improv, but the scene between Darcy and her mum, when she's shouting at her,
Hmm.
that was all improv.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
literally
god.
did it all day. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was like, wow, they literally just met and like did that whole yeah. So all of the
Okay.
stuff that was said like in that scene was literally Kizzy and whoever played Kizzy's mum.
Yeah, I don't know who played Kizzy's mom.
Someone.
Hmm.
Someone out there. But yeah, what should we talk about next? I'm literally
We
just
can talk about
looking
Truth
at
or
the
Dare.
pardon?
We can talk about Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
That was
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
Because it was
Uh,
Tara's birthday, which
oh
was,
good.
oh, and then we had that little cute moment with Nick and Charlie in the hotel room, the recharging. That was adorable. But I want to go to the main thing of like the Truth or Dare, like the whole like party scene,
Yeah,
because there's so many different things happening.
a
Like
lot of things.
Ellen Tower, fine.
Yeah, they're vibing.
They're
Oh yeah,
fine.
they're making out in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, but it's really
Yeah.
focused on like Tara and Darcy because like Darcy's like I want it to be an amazing party for Tara because she's a princess. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it was so cute. But once Darcy like brings out like the alcohol, Tara's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a whole thing on like Isaac, which I don't,
The
yeah.
one of the lines that like stuck out to me of this episode was Isaac.
Hmm.
I think I have it saved on my phone as well.
Hmm.
And it's like a truth or dare thing, and I think it landed on him, and they were like, "Oh, who's your
Hmm.
celebrity crush?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't think I have any celebrity crushes." And
Hmm.
then Imogen off, she's like, "Oh, like, what do you mean everyone has a celebrity crush?"
Yeah.
And like, honest to God, if I would have seen that on screen, like someone saying that, like a few years back, that honestly would have like made me feel a lot better about
Hmm.
myself because like all throughout secondary school I was going through like this whole crisis where I was like I don't have a crush on anyone and it's just like so frustrating.
Hmm.
And then you see a character who's going through that and you're like, oh shit, like this isn't a me thing, it's like an actual thing.
Yeah.
And I just think even that singular line is, I mean, we know Alice is a scenario, we know
Oh
that
yeah.
Alice gets it, I knew the storyline would like be incredible, but just like hearing those things that you yourself have been thinking that you've gone through before
Yeah.
and that like validated on screen, it's like it's insane. I was like, Isaac, me too. I
Yeah.
feel you. Me too.
And then the
Um,
kiss between him and James, which is giving
the whole
such
time,
strong Georgia storyline. Because
yeah.
Georgia, what was his name? Jason, I think his name
Oh,
was.
Jason, yes.
Yeah. She wants, because she wants to find love. So she's like, oh, me and Jason get along really well.
Yeah. Do you know what was striking to me
Mm-hmm.
with that kiss scene between him and James?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it was actually kind of a parallel to Nick and Charlie in season one.
Mm-hmm.
You know that scene where they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have a crush on Charlie anymore, but I have a crush on someone." It's like a kind of parallel from that scene between Nick
Mm-hmm.
and Charlie, where they're like, "Oh, would you kiss a girl?" Blah 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a thing of that's like the perfect romantic
Yeah.
situation, I guess you'd say. And even that is just not enough for Isaac, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because aro and he's asexual, and that's the reason
Yeah.
why. Um, yeah, I just think that that's the main thing that stuck out to me. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's kind of like a direct kind
Yeah.
of parallel of what happened in season one with Nick and Charlie.
Mhm.
Um,
And then he goes back to the room and he's like tearing up. And I'm
I
like,
just wanted to hug
don't do this
him.
to me.
I just wanted to hug him and just be
Mm-hmm.
like, it's okay. Yeah, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And then we also have people asking about the hickey in Truth and Dare.
Oh my God. No, wait, wait, no, before that,
Mm.
the kiss, that was, well, that like, a kiss didn't happen, but like, that was supposed to be James in the comic, but it ended up being Ben.
Don't talk to
And
me about that.
Ben, oh my God, why does he do this every single time? He's like, I don't even know Charlie. And I'm like,
Can you stop pretending? Like
stop.
everyone knows you know Charlie at this
Yeah,
point.
it was just so stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I Ben was like, "No, I've had enough." I'm like, "Okay, go." Like no one
yeah.
wanted you anyway. You can actually get out. Um, yeah. And then no, this wasn't I don't think this was after, but Tao kissing Charlie was not on my bingo card for
That
this
was,
season.
that was
It
so
was
funny.
so funny. I'm like it made me laugh so much. I was
Hmm.
like I was like that I didn't predict for that to happen in season
No,
two, but like I'm here
I
for
like
it.
that.
That was really funny.
Hmm.
I loved it. It was
Which
great.
reminds me of something that we didn't mention, I don't think. Because after this Paris trip ends, I believe. Um, at the part, because there's a thing in Paris, I think it's an actual thing where you can get a lock and then
Yeah,
write like your name plus someone else's name and like a heart. And instead of Charlie writing Nick and Charlie, he writes Charlie and Tao, and then they have like a whole hug thing.
that
Oh,
is
it,
so because obviously you have Nick and Charlie, they're a very strong relationship.
mhm,
Also Tao now, like they like each other a lot, they care for each other a lot.
mhm.
But something that I think is really cool about Heartstopper and Alice's writing is that there's such a strong value for platonic friendship and platonic relationships. It's
I
not just
want it.
about the romantic things, it's also about like just the friendship you have with your friends. And it's yeah.
There's something that I want to mention. I shared this to a friend a bit ago. Well, it's like a server I'm in with some friends, and we have a channel called like Info Dumped, and I'm like, I said this certain thing from the comics because it means a lot to me. It's basically after Charlie gets back from psych ward, I believe, and he's writing in his like journal and stuff, and he's like after going to like therapy with Gia, I, I don't know
Oh,
how to say
Jeff.
it, Jeff.
Hey.
So what I want to talk about, it was in chapter 6, around the time where Charlie gets out of the like ward and is talking in his journal, and it's like I've realized after about like all this time that you need like multiple support outlets, things like that. You need multiple different groups of people. You need like your like friend, you need family, um, what was the other one? There's something I know family, friends, more friends, a therapist, teachers. I don't know what the other option was, but you need so many outlets of support. You can't just depend on one person,
Exactly.
or else like it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
Yeah. No, literally exactly that.
Hmm.
And I think what made that moment even better was that you got the flashback to when they first met each other.
Hmm.
And they were like tiny year sevens, and you look at them now and they're like a lot older, and
Yeah.
it's just so sweet to see. And I think in teen shows, a lot of the time there's an emphasis on romance, and you don't really
Yeah.
explore those friendships. And it's like friendship is so important,
Hmm.
especially when you're young. Like having those friendships is so important.
Yeah.
And I love that we got to see a bit more of their friendship this season. I
Hmm.
think it was just really special.
I love it so much because friendship is just. I think it's so important to have friends, like just have someone to talk to that isn't like Nick and Charlie, for example. They are they are best friends, 100%. Best friends, lovers, soulmates.
Everything.
Yeah, and like they need each other, but they also need like their own like
Yeah.
friends and people to talk to.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's good that they do have that.
Hmm.
Um, and hopefully we will see more of those of the rugby boys next
I
season with
really
Nick.
hope so. I love like Christian
That's a really nice
Cyanotis.
friendship that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I love their
But
friendship. It's
another thing I just thought of.
mm.
So, oh my God, about people who haven't read the comics before. Um, this is when before Nick comes out to the three of them. Before it was like the same scene where Nick and Charlie kiss in the like storage room, and they're like, "Oh, you're such good friends and stuff." And oh my God, someone I'm assuming who hasn't read the comics was like, "Oh, one of the rugby lads, like rugby lad 3," and I'm like, "You mean Otis? Like he has a name,
Yeah.
but
Mm. Yeah.
whatever."
Otis and Christian,
Yeah,
my besties.
I
I
love
love
them
them,
so much.
right? Yeah, no, I love them. Yeah, I
Mhm.
hope we get to see a bit more of that maybe next season.
I
A
hope
little bit
so.
more. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. We're continuing with like what should we move on to next? Should we move on to episode 7 and you want to go into 8?
Sorry, one second. No, definitely. Sorry, I'm plugging this in. Definitely episode 7 because that's the big Ace Arrow moment with
It is.
Isaac
Oh
and that
yeah.
guy at the exhibition.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was so important. That reminded me of a lot. I keep mentioning like Georgia, but the
Oh,
moment
and
when
that person,
yeah, what was his
um,
name? What was
at
their
that
name?
society. I said I got it.
What is it?
Non-binary, I think they are. He,
Okay.
him, or they, them, and their name is Sunil. Do you remember Sunil?
Ah, yes.
And Sunil is Ace, but not Aro.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was that kind of same vibe I got
Yeah.
in episode 7 when basically they were at the art exhibition
Mhm.
and Isaac felt drawn towards this like certain art exhibit. And this guy came up next to him and was like, "Oh, do you like it? That's my piece."
Mhm.
And Isaac was just like, I think he was like, "Oh, what's it about?" And this guy explained it to him, and it was like this moment for Isaac where he was like, "Wow, like you get me. Like
Mhm.
that's what I've been kind of feeling this whole
Yeah.
time." And that's why you get Isaac gets like, that Heartstopper moment where he gets those leaves and that animation
Yeah.
after he speaks to him and he feels this sense of maybe relief
Yeah.
and
Understanding.
he's finally understanding what he's been feeling and why he's been so isolated from his friends in terms of like the romance and like all of that. Um yeah, I think some of the words that were spoken, that was like the scene that made me cry because I was like, oh my God, like this was me, and it's just like I think it's a different feeling when you see yourself represented like that on screen.
Yeah.
It's like season one, like technically I didn't really see myself represented, but like I still loved it and I
Mhm.
was happy and it was so cool. But I think it's something completely else where it's like your feelings and stuff you've experienced and you're like watching that on screen and
Yeah.
it's like oh, it's like really weird, but it's like really
Mhm.
cool. But yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes, and one of the scenes that like really got to me because I was like, this is cool. We're finally
Mhm.
giving a voice to like um Ace and Aro
Yeah.
voices, perspectives, and people watching this who don't know about it in just a simple scene like that get like a little bit more understanding about what that
Yeah.
actually is. And I love Alice for that. I love it so much.
I love how Alice, yeah, I love how she brings in so many things, so many topics that are not talked about enough in
And it's
media
just
at all.
explained in like 5 seconds.
Hmm.
Like it's just like it doesn't
Uh,
take that much time, and it's just like, oh yeah, this person is has an Ace and Ava experience. They
yeah.
made this piece of art based on like this, and you have that short little scene between those two, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Um, and also the two friends that Elle has at the art school, one of them trans female and one of them I think is non-binary, who's
Okay.
Felix, who's the one in the wheelchair as well. So I think that's just nice to get more trans representation into the show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I
Um,
just think it's so cool.
what else about, is there
That
anything
episode,
else about episode 7?
we had the talk with Ben, but we also kind of went over that.
Oh, we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Uh, do you know what was really interesting to me, particularly about after that scene with Ben, is how the animation,
Yeah, the animation of
it
like the
was
rainbows.
insane. It is like, yeah, the animation of like, it was like rainbow like on the path,
Hmm.
and it was like Ben stood literally right behind it, and he was like walking backwards away from the rain. It was like this insane imagery, and then he
Yeah.
literally just turned his back and walked away on the rainbow animation. It was just like such a crazy metaphor for like
Yeah.
him as a person and a character, and just like
Mhm.
I really loved that. I think that was
Yeah.
really special, that moment. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we've already talked about that scene actually,
Yeah.
and how, yeah,
I want to move
yeah,
on
I'm
to
not gonna
episode
give
8.
Ben that much screen time.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
yeah, let's do it.
Because like we've been doing this like almost 2 hours.
I know, I was gonna say, like, I might need to leave for dinner soon, so we need
Yeah.
to,
So
wrap
we'll
it up
finish
a
up with
little
episode
bit.
8 and then like
Yeah,
move on. Episode 8,
overall
the
thoughts
prom.
and yeah.
Incredible. I'm the scene
Can
like
I
where
just
they're
say one thing
mhm,
that might be a bit annoying, but it came to me after I watched the show.
mhm,
And I was like, it's a prom for year 11s. I understand why Charlie is there because he's next date. But I'm like,
mhm,
why is Isaac there? That sounds really mean.
mhm.
But he's year 10.
And Tao. Oh, Tao's a date, I guess.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't mean to sound mean. I love Isaac Slade, be there. Unless James invited him.
Oh,
But I
that could be
wouldn't
it.
think so because that was after they had their talk and
Mhm,
they know that they're not going to be a romantic
mhm.
thing. I'm like,
I don't
I
know.
just keep thinking about that in my head. I'm like, why is Isaac there? Because he's, yeah, I don't know. I
I
keep
don't
thinking
know.
about it.
But
And I don't
whatever.
know an explanation. But it's fine. He's
Mhm.
Slade.
I just
But
yeah,
yeah,
the
sorry,
prom
carry on, carry on.
they had the whole thing of Darcy who like didn't end up coming because her phone died and she was kicked out of the house basically.
Yeah, she had
Yeah.
like this whole argument with her mum because her
Yeah.
mum was like criticizing her prom outfit.
Yeah.
Um,
And called her a
and
lesbian in like a derogatory way.
yeah, and Darcy was like, no, like my friends are supportive, like
Mhm.
all of this stuff, trying to stand up for herself. And then her mum literally just kicked her out of the house.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, she had nowhere to go, and then her
Yeah.
phone died, and then she didn't want to feel like a burden to Tara, so she didn't go to her house.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, there was like a whole lot of that, and
Yeah.
Tara was really like worried the whole time
Yeah.
because Darcy was supposed to show up to help with actually setting up for the prom
Yeah.
like the day, and then she still wasn't there in the evening when the prom
Mhm.
actually happened. But yeah,
Which
it was
this is a small detail I want to mention.
yeah,
When like how many of them? The six of them. No, seven, because Sahara's also there. The seven of them
yes,
are outside of like the building kind of, and Tara's like, "Oh, we can just head in. Darcy will be here." And Nick's like looking back because Nick's like, "Oh, we can wait." And there's that whole moment with Nick and Tara where Nick's like, "Are you okay? Like, where's Darcy?" And she's like, I don't know where she is." And it's like freaking me out. Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
crazy because
I love their dynamic.
oh
Um,
yeah, the one thing about that as well was that he actually because she was like in the middle of the crowd, like kind of looking for Darcy, and the fact that Nick knew, like he had a kind of instinct that she
mhm,
wasn't okay, so he followed her and then spoke to her.
mhm.
It just speaks about his character, like as a person.
Yeah.
He just cares so much, and he can tell a
Mhm,
lot of the time when someone he's close with and friends with like
mhm.
isn't okay, which I just love.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are we talking about next?
We can move on to them going to Nick's house. Well, Nick
Yes,
goes over to Charlie who's sitting alone, which is a really like it's a parallel to Harry's party.
yeah, in
'Cause
season one.
yeah, and also a kind of back moment to when they were on the balcony, and Nick's like, "We always run away from parties together," and they're like, "I hope we keep doing that," and they do. They do keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because Charlie's like, could we just like leave?
yeah, and everything with
Because
our friends.
I think I feel like particularly Charlie has the whole season he's gotten obsessed with the idea of coming out, and so
Mhm,
has Nick, that they haven't stopped to think the
mhm,
reason they wanted to come out was just so they could just like authentically be themselves as a couple and
mhm,
without like kind of the worry. So he was like, yeah, let's just like go spend time with our
mhm.
friends. And they all go to Nick's house. And during all of that, Tara is out looking for Darcy.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Darcy has just actually come to the prom just before
yeah,
they head to his house. So they all go to Nick's house. And I think, is it that Nick, yeah, Nick calls
mhm.
Tara and tells her everything. And then Tara heads to Nick's house.
And they have
And
that
we
big
see,
hug.
yes,
And
like we have such a cute moment between Tara and Darcy. And that I just love them together. They're amazing.
yeah, I love the talk that they have. And Darcy explains like all the feelings and everything, and they're like, "We should just practice saying I love you more." And they're like, "I love you. I love you."
I love you. I love you.
Mm.
It made me smile so wide, that scene. It was just the cutest thing ever. I just love them.
Also,
Yeah.
they have like their little like dance sort of thing, and the music choice. I know some people aren't like big Swifties, but that choice in music, it just for some reason it works so perfectly.
Do you know the reason how they got that?
Oh,
So I don't know how. I think they contacted Taylor Swift and her team, whatever. Because usually you'd have, I know, because usually you'd have to get rights and you'd have to
mhm,
pay to get it, whatever. I don't think they had to because Taylor actually watched the scene and she
mhm.
was like, "It's so beautiful. Yeah, let's put it in there." So she actually watched the scene between Tara and Darcy and was like, "Yeah, like it's so beautiful. I want that to be in there.
Oh
Yeah."
my God,
Yeah, I know. I think the director said that or Alice said that. Yeah, I saw it in an
that's
article and I was like,
incredible. But
crazy,
yeah,
I know.
it
Which,
was so perfect. The dancing with
yeah,
all of them, the dancing, just like all the couples like holding close to each other and dancing, and then like Tara twirling Isaac.
yeah.
It just made
Oh,
my like chest hurt. I'm like,
it really
oh,
is like what you said earlier, like found family.
it
Just
is.
it's so wholesome
Mhm,
and yeah, I just love it.
mhm. I'm gonna quickly move on to like um the Nick and Charlie after because they say bye to everyone
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they go into Nick's room and they're having like just a Nick and Charlie moment, and then they get into like a serious talk where Nick's like they talk about like rugby camp, not too
Yeah.
important,
Yeah,
but Nick's
because
like,
Charlie sees like a trophy. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you have so many trophies."
hmm
And Nick was like, "Oh yeah, this was just like from a rugby camp I went to."
yeah,
Looking back, I think I actually was obsessed with the coach. Is
the
it the
instructor, yeah,
instructor? So he tried to do his best, and
mhm,
because he tried so well, he got a
yeah,
trophy for it.
best team player, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Your turn.
Tell me
Tell me
something,
thing."
and they talk
Charlie's like,
about the bullying.
and the eating
hmm
leads into it too.
And
Um,
I
yeah,
want to
it's
sob every time when Nick comes down as like Charlie and holds his hand was like, we promised after you told me the eating thing that we would tell each other everything and tell each other things. And he's like, I care about you a lot. I'm your boyfriend. And I'm like, you're gonna make me cry. And then
I
when
know.
like Kit slash Nick and then Joe and Charlie actually started crying, I was like, do this to me?
This is what I mean, like the type of person Nick is,
Mhm,
like whilst Charlie is talking about it,
mhm,
which by the way, very vulnerable thing that he's doing, he's
mhm,
finally opening up to Nick about this. Um, and Nick is listening so much. He just cares so much and he's listening to everything Charlie has to say.
mhm.
And you can see how upset he is by it all. And none of this is happening to Nick, it's happened to Charlie. But we know they love each other, but not at this moment. But they
Mhm.
care so much about each other that it's just affecting Nick so much, and he's crying over it as well. And he's like,
He is.
it's just insane, and it just makes me want to cry. And it's just like, oh, it's just like so many emotions, which is
You-
why I would
Hmm.
say this is one of my favorite scenes of the whole
It
season.
is. I
It's probably in
think
my top five.
didn't Kit and Joe or one of them say that it was one of their favorite scenes to shoot because it was so like raw and vulnerable,
Yeah, yeah,
and it really shows like the chemistry between the two of them.
it does. It really does.
Mhm,
And I mean, the thing that I do like about this and how they chose to end the season with this
mhm,
is that it really shows you kind of the transition into the next season.
mhm.
Like that end scene, that's basically going to be the tone for like season three, I feel
Yeah.
like. And it's just like so mature and it's so like emotional and open and just
hmm
like everything. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like a lot. And you
Yeah.
finally see, I think this scene is where you finally see how everything in Charlie's past has actually
hmm
affected him. And I think it's clever how they've done it because like in season one and two, you see like he's an anxious person.
hmm
He doesn't eat like normally, let's say. Um, but it's a thing where like you can't tell unless you really unpack it
hmm
because he bottles it up like you can't tell from the outside,
Yeah.
and then you finally get to this point at the end of the season where he opens up to Nick about it, and then you're like, oh my God, like this is still affecting him,
Yeah.
and like it's just like insane the impact it's had on him.
hmm
um yeah, I don't know, which is
Yeah.
well it makes me think of quickly of that scene between Tao and Nick
hmm
um in Paris, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
When Nick goes up to Tao and he's like, think they have like a little heart to heart, and he's like, "Oh, did Charlie like ever tell
Oh, that
you?"
wasn't in Paris. That was at the setting up for the prom.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. For setting up at the prom because he starts getting worried, I think. He's like,
hmm
"Did Charlie actually ever talk too much about the bullying?" And Tao says no, and that surprises Nick so much. He's like, "If
Yeah.
he didn't talk to Tao about it, like who did he talk to about it?"
Yeah.
And the thing is, he didn't. He just like body, which isn't healthy, we know. And that's like, yeah, I
hmm
think that scene is really important as well.
Yeah.
um yeah, I could talk about this end scene for ages just
Yeah.
because Oh,
We can always
it's
do another episode where we talk about more of it if we wanted to.
yeah. I feel like there's just so much that yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
But we need to end
it's
the episode
I
here.
know because we've spoken too
Yeah.
much.
It's been like basically 2 hours at this point, and you need to go have dinner. I need to go get ready to go hang out with a friend.
Yes. Okay.
So
Okay. Let's do overall thoughts of the season.
incredible. I saw a thing
No
on, I think
stopping.
it was the Instagram, Nick and Charlie. They put a poll of like, which one do you like better, season one or season two? And I'm like, you
Season
can't
two.
make a pick. No, I thing
I
is,
would
I
pick
love both
season.
of them so much.
Do you know what I've been thinking about is that season one was like the introduction into like the world and
Mm-hmm.
the characters, and it's sort of like this sweet sort of like
Mm-hmm.
nice little thing. And then season two, it's that plus all of these mature things and a lot more mental health stuff. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I just think season two is like a lot more
Mm-hmm.
maybe like deeper. But then what's nice is it still has the balance of there being so much queer joy
Yeah,
in it, which is just great. Like you have these really deep, really emotional
yeah.
topics, but like you still find yourself laughing and smiling throughout the whole season. And it's just like, I don't know, it's a nice balance. But yeah, I loved it.
I love
I'm
it
gonna
so much.
probably rewatch it a lot of times.
Oh, probably.
And yeah, I'm also very happy. We've been getting so many photo shoots and articles recently.
Yeah, we
And I'm just
have.
like, yeah. I just saw on Instagram a video of Kit and Joe like talking about something. So yeah, I might
Can
send
you
that to
send
you.
it to me?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It was very cute. It was very good. But yeah, there's like a lot of stuff coming out now about it, which is great.
Okay.
But I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm emotionally recovered from it, but
hmm
don't know
Also,
if I
yeah,
ever.
mhm, I think that's it. Let's
Yeah.
do our closing remarks. Also, do we want to do an episode on Red, White, and Royal Blue, the movie?
Do you know what? I think we might have to.
Yeah, it comes out
Do you guys
this.
want us to?
Yeah, do you
Should
want
we?
us to? Question in the comments. Please
I've
put a
seen
question
more
on
clips
Instagram.
and pictures that have come out about the film. Obsessed.
I'm so excited.
It's so funny because when the casting first came out and some of the promo pics first came
Mhm,
out ages ago, everyone was like, they have no chemistry. Oh my God, it's going to be so bad. And me, I've always been a chemistry truther since the
mhm.
beginning. I've always said the film is going to be amazing. And
Oh
now
yeah.
people are like, oh my God, they actually have chemistry. I'm like, yes.
hmm
Like, believe in the process. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be incredible and heartbreaking.
It'll
Yeah,
be so good though.
I'm so excited. Like, I
I will
can't
update
explain it.
you once I watch it.
I think the only thing that I'm a little sad about is that June isn't in the film anymore.
Oh, it's not?
She's been, who's the character? Nora?
Yeah.
They're putting basically June into Nora. So Nora is Nora and June is
Oh,
basically. Yeah.
so
That's the only thing that's sad
Alex
for
is
me
an
about.
only child?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing that's upsetting
That's
me.
sad.
But I want to reserve my judgment until I see it.
Yeah.
See, it's still upsetting,
Mhm.
but just to see like maybe
How
they
they
did it for a reason, you
Yeah.
know? You know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Mhm.
I know I said last time on this that our next episode is a romanticism, but I mean, Heartstopper had to come before that just because,
Yeah.
we need to talk about it. So the next episode after this that will come out will actually be about a romanticism,
Mhm.
which is kind of fitting considering the events of season two with
Yeah.
Isaac, which is very nice. But yeah, that's what our next episode will be about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching everyone. Um, this is our 22nd episode, which is incredible. Big one so far. If you want to keep watching us, you can watch this here on YouTube and also stay for updates. We post on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter sometimes, right?
Yeah, don't worry, I've got it on Twitter. I'm actually
Got
really
it.
looking at it now.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
I'll
I'm not
put
bad at
those all in our like descriptions because I don't want to list them all out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you want to email us for any suggestions, you can email us at the.burrow.pod@gmail.com and we'll respond as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bye bye everyone. Thank you for listening.
Bye.